All right. There.
Oh, welcome to our second episode of Mindful Monday. Um, Today we have Mac Daddy Coombs. He's going to talk to us about mental health and wellness. And Dion again is here as our co-host. And this is our second, I guess, sanctioned event that we're having. So I'm pretty excited. We'll grow. We made some mistakes. We always do, and we always will. Right on. So I'll hand it over to you. Yeah, I'll hand it over to you guys. How are you?
Oh, good. Just send my wife off on a trip for a week with my daughter. So I'm doing all her chores and all her errands today, plus work. So, with a dog that has anxiety disorder, can't stay away from, it has to be around people, so I can't leave him in the house. So I have to bring him with me. So.
Oh, you'll see me get up and let mine out here, and then eventually he'll climb up on my lap. He does that sometimes. Looks around, looks at the camera like he doesn't know what's going on, but he does.
Yeah, mine looks at me like, "What are you doing? Get away from there. Let's go go outside. Let's go to the park." And
Yeah.
Mine lays at my feet and don't move, and she's a giant Great Dane. But I don't even know she's there, other than the fact that she's at my feet.
Yeah,
she's lazy.
He pouts when he wants to go to the park. He just kind of gives that pouty look. So he wants to. Right now, he's just sitting on the couch, just looking at the nothing, and just doing his little Snoopy.
Oh.
Say hi. Say hi, Snoop. Say hi. Say hi, Snoopers.
Hey, Snoop. Beast mode.
Yeah,
he's being lazy. He don't care no more.
And he's like, "Dude, you're supposed to take me to the park. I got this harness on. It's hot outside. You're supposed to go to the park." And...
It's definitely hot.
Time off was for me, not crypto.
All right. Yeah, so I'm really interested in what you guys do here, and I look forward to giving my anything that I can do to any feedback or anything I can do as far as provide assistance and it's awesome. It's awesome. I love it.
Sean, did you see the video that I just made of the Infiniverse meetup spot?
I haven't had a chance to, but I will for sure today.
Yeah,
it was a beautiful space. It'll be a good meetup zone for people that are like-minded, at least, and be able to find a place that they're comfortable talking to other people. That's my vision on our little whatever.
Yeah.
But they'll have to filter it all through everything, which will be nice. Yeah. And I can't remember who was asking about Snafu, but Snafu, they're a charity token for veterans, and they give to groups that are part of that veterans, and they've also come on board with our staking. Like I said, they're a solid group.
Nice. Yeah, I like the fact that you guys are doing this, and that you guys have a forum to discuss and because discussion is always important in helping people cope with certain things, right? So having a forum to do that, people have support. That support system is awesome.
Well, totally. And like I told it was my daughter that she saw me a little happy. She's like, "What are you excited about?" I'm like, "Well, our launch is happening. Everything's coming together." She goes, "Isn't it great?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." But I had to have my heart broken to actually come up with the idea, right? Because she's been here for the whole thing, and she's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Well, look at it." And she goes, "Yeah, you're right, Dad." And I'm like, "Yeah, it is what it is. Everything has a silver lining at the end of the day. You can always pull a good idea out of a bad situation, but you need the support to be able to see that, and that's you need it. Some people just don't want to reach out, and it's so important. Like me being a hard-working guy, out on the ocean, it was really hard for me to pick up the phone and say, hey, you know what, I got this problem. It's bugging me, but people need to be able to know that it's okay to do that. And I think projects like this and the things that Dion's doing in the metaverse and you coming forward to help with your area of expertise, I think it's what the space needs, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot of people in a lot of important um, positions are you know to be able to have the availability to you know for somebody to extend their network to the people to people who are in positions that can really help spread the word and get people's voices heard and to deal with a lot of stuff. My daughter, she deals with a lot of mental. She's got some mental illness, mental health issues that she deals with. I mean, we just had.
Yeah.
I was dealing with one of them. She's 18, but she lets her thought process start taking over, and she starts getting this really depressed state of mind. So I mean, I as a
So you know
parent,
firsthand, yeah, you know firsthand the mental what it takes up here to deal with it, and then the financial side of it too. If you
oh,
don't,
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely,
and sometimes that's to me that a lot of people don't pick up the phone because they're like, "What? It's costing me this much. I can just deal with that problem, just work through it, right?" But
yeah,
nobody truly does. It's always good to talk to somebody who knows.
absolutely. Getting a different perspective on life, or different, life. So maybe it maybe has a different life experience or has gone through something that's and has dealt with it in the past is good to talk to because they're going to give you, even one word, one thing that somebody says can resonate with that person, and then and it could change the whole direction of where they're going and the way they're thinking, and that's why the support groups are so important for mental health. I think it's more important than sitting down with a psychiatrist to have a support group, someone who they can relate to, because
Totally.
you can't
Yeah,
relate
'cause
to a
you're,
psychiatrist. I mean, it's a psychiatrist is great because they can give you like medication to help you cope with or
yeah.
to cope with it, but they're not gonna, it doesn't it doesn't solve the problem. Problem's
That's
going
not
to take.
always going to fix the problem. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's almost like that. Your best friends will always give you the advice you want to hear, no matter how much you think that they're going to give you great advice. Some of them, one or two of them might, but the majority are going to give you the advice you want to hear, that everything's going to be fine, and there's nobody there to point you in the direction of actually getting the resources and information you need to process, right? In
yeah,
today's world, where nobody's taught that in school. So
no,
yeah, having access to good resources and somebody to talk to are important.
yeah, I think it's crucial. Like my wife's she's very conservative. She's my wife's from Mazatlan. She's from Mexico. She grew up in a very conservative family, so she's very very straight arrow. She's Catholic. She's, I mean, opposite of me pretty much. But she's very. I mean, I'm conservative too, but she's like ultra conservative. But so she doesn't believe in a lot of alternative ways to deal with things. So she's where so my daughter, she can't really turn to my wife because my wife wants to blame something else for her.
Yeah, it's this or yeah, that's right.
She'll sit there and say, well, you need to stop doing, it's because you smoke pot or whatever, and all this other stuff.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with that. It's because, she's battling.
She
She's got some,
probably smokes pot to deal with it.
yeah, in a way,
exactly. Yeah,
that's what she does. But,
Yeah.
my wife being from Sinaloa, which is, is like the drug capital, one of the drug capital of the world. She's seen a lot of, violence. So she's so
violence.
against it. So, with all the cartels and stuff down there. And so so my daughter, she can't really talk to her. She could talk to me because, I mean, I've been, I mean, I haven't really dealt with a lot of personally with a lot of mental. I mean, I have ADHD, but but I mean, I'm pretty good about dealing with it.
We're from an
But I have,
older area, right? Where it's like, oh, do you just work through it? Forget about it. You can't show your feelings, right? Like
yeah,
that's what I mean. That's the hardest thing about it is actually coming out and so appreciative of what you're doing tonight and coming out and saying, hey, you know what? I got this little bit of an issue and I don't know where to go to deal with it.
yeah, and so this was like 2 days ago. She was, I picked her up from her boyfriend's house. She was crying, and I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, she goes, well, I started fighting with her boyfriend for no reason because he was trying to be nice and he was trying to give me some direction, and some little bit of constructive criticism because she wasn't doing things the right when she was picking up the house. So he was being so nice about it, but she said that she just wasn't listening because she said in her head she just couldn't. She was just like, she says, she gets all these bad thoughts in her head, and I'm like, well, devils, the idle times the devil's work. I said you need to, you be productive. Get around people who are going to be positive and uplifting. So I've been fortunate enough to learn from some of the really really good quantum physics, quantum theory instructors that people who have really mastered that, people that done The Secret. I've learned from all these guys, and I believe in that. So I'm just trying to instill those same beliefs that my daughter's saying. You can do anything you want to. You can be whatever you want to be. You can be whatever you want to. You can do whatever you want to. But it's there's so many cliches. If you think about it, they're spot on. It's like you gotta crawl before you walk. You gotta walk before you run. So if you want to be successful, you got to take the steps to be successful. Don't look at it all like you have to do it all at once and you're gonna snap your finger and everything's gonna be done, because it doesn't work that way. There's a process to everything. But if you believe in it, you set goals and you start doing little victories, it's going to build your confidence. You're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to feel a sense of accomplishment, like you've done something. And that's how you change your mental change your mental mindset around from where you're like thinking like I can't do this, or it's just all this stuff is like pouring down on me. Well, you don't think that way. You got to look at a different approach. Like, okay, well, I'm going to tackle this one first, and then I'm going to tackle this one first. I'm going to tackle this one first, and go through the steps to tackle those. It's just like it's a reverse. It's like reverse goals. Because you got these issues coming down. So, or you think they're issues, but they're really in a everyday life. It's life, right? But in your mind, it's heavy, and it's a lot of stuff weighing down on you. But everybody goes through it. It's just how you approach it. And so I said, that's something that I'll be more happy to work with you on. First of all, what do you want? You just got to go back and kind of draw out a path for your life. I mean, what do you want to do for a living, and how do you want to get there? How do you think you're going to get there? And these are the process. We have to do one thing at a time, and don't overwhelm yourself with too much. It's one task at a time, and all of a sudden, all those the negative thoughts of this overwhelming weight of life will feel a lot lighter.
That's right. Yeah.
I have to agree with that. When I went through a couple of years of group therapies for addiction issues, in my early 20s, and then afterwards I went into some private therapies because there were some aspects of the group therapies that just didn't mesh with me, and it caused some internal grief personally. It's not for everybody, but I for a short time, because I'd seen a psychologist, they had me on some antidepressants, and I'm not knocking antidepressants. I mean, a lot of people need them. There's no question about it. But I really started to come out of my shit when I started setting goals, when I had a plan, when I had a direction that I needed to head. The anxiety kind of, it's something I'll always cope with, but not on the levels that I was back then, because I'm also able now to recognize those triggers in myself, right? Like, what are the things that set me down that path? What are the situations that I find myself in that make me act a certain way, or to lash out, or what have you? But it was, for me, it was, getting my university done, because I was a high school dropout, and not that I cared about that, but I wanted an education. And then, I turned my focus really heavily to my business for a lot of years. And, that has its up and downs as well. But,
you can miss a lot
realistically,
when you're
it wasn't,
focused on that.
it wasn't until I had a purpose though, and I mean, that purpose changes, right? I mean, for a while there, I got kind of in a rut where it was just work was the only damn thing on my mind ever, and that's not healthy either, right? I mean, there's still a balance that you have to strike, and then of course having kids, well, that changed the whole game. I mean, it's, I was bulletproof before I had kids, and now I think if I stub my toe and get a fracture, it's going to get cancerous and it's going to go metastatic and then I'm going to die and my kids are going to be alone and oh my God, I'm knock my headset off.
I'm almost
so it changes your perspective a lot, right? So it's just, for me, it's if you run out of goals, man, set another one because that keeps you motivated. It keeps you moving. It keeps you living,
Small victories.
Yeah. And it's not about money either, right? I mean, it's not about income and it's not about money. It's about, am I doing the shit that makes me happy in life? Am I progressing towards the goals that I've set for myself or not? And that's directly related to how I am emotionally. There's no doubt.
Yep. It's like I tell my daughter, so you can't wave a magic wand. I mean, unless you hit the lottery, nothing's going to change. I mean, you got to take each step. You see this person, oh wow, this influencer, That's the problem with today is all this social media and everything like that. People see a fake facade of how people live, and a lot of times it's not even like that. It's just for show. And they think, well, I want to live that life too. That I should be like, but they think that they should just get there without putting the work in. Even those people that are living that life, they got there for a reason because they put the work to get there. It didn't just like happen for them. And so when they see that, they're like, oh, I want to be like that. Well, if you want to be like that, you need to put the work in. Well, oh my God, that's so hard. Well, no, just little victories will get you there, one thing at a time, one step at a time, and then
slow growth.
And just because that persona is there doesn't mean that it's accurate. I mean, we all have an online persona, and we all have some kind of personal image that we try to put out there, and they're not always 100% in line with who we really are. But it's just how we're dealing with this modern era,
No, that's one of the reasons I like VCs, and I like the ability to be on camera because you can really show yourself and your emotions, and it gives more of a real feel to the community at least.
And you can watch me eat an apple with a knife like a psychopath.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Oh yeah, eat your apple. No worries. No, it's been really good. We've been talking about the fact that a lot of people don't have access to the resources, and being able to allow or send that out there. We've been finding is helping a lot of people, and
yeah. I mean,
God, I just hope that our number keeps climbing the way it is in the people we've helped. Because if it does, I'm ecstatic. We've done what we've come out here to do, and will continue to do.
Right.
Well, it's done. You guys, it's done already. You guys are getting it done, and that's
already done.
And then the thing is that's why it's so important for to have a platform, to have a network to really spread the word. And it's the collaborations and partnerships that you line up and lay out. Those people can help you spread your word and bring awareness to the causes that you support, and that's kind of the reason why we do what we do. And it's more than what we do with all the benefits and stuff like that. And a lot of it has to do with making sure we're paying it forward and giving back to the people who need it the most. And the best way we can get back to the people that need it the most is get people motivated to give back to the people who need it most.
Absolutely.
Like today, I did I went through Starbucks and I just said, I got the person behind me. I'm paying it forward. Whoever's behind me. Luckily, it wasn't like a huge order or nothing, but it was just a coffee. But at the same time, but it's those little things that you do. That that person could have been having a bad day, whatever, you don't
Absolutely.
know, but and that little gesture could.
My grandma had told me one time she went to Wendy's and she loves Wendy's. She just loves it. That's just, can I get a Wendy's? I'm like, all right, Grandma, I'll get you a Wendy's. But she had to take herself one day, and she said she was just blown away because she got up there and she decided to order something extra. So it was like $9, and she was flipping out because it was so expensive. And she said, well, the car in front of you paid for yours already. And she said, huh? What? She could not understand it. I said, Grandma, it's called pay it forward. They were trying to be nice to you. She could not figure out what they were doing, but she was like, oh, it made her day. I mean, it really gave her something to talk about, but it really did make her day. So paying it forward, those little things do help.
Yeah, it does. And it's you when you give with unconditionally without expecting anything in return, you're going to get back, whether it's physical value and or you're going to
It's
get
the
back in
law.
or
It's
you're
the
going to get back
law. John just posted this today. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get back. It doesn't necessarily have to be in like a physical value. It could be something as in knowledge. It could be something in
That's
anything.
right.
A gesture.
We're just and I'm just glad we're able to show people the way that I've learned to deal with a lot of the stuff. Not necessarily Ed, but like I was saying before, like there's three of us here that are from our old school life. It's you work through your pain. There is no pain. There's no reason for you to be upset. You're a man, giver, right?
Yeah.
And again, people nowadays, even of our age, they need to know. Yeah.
And then we wonder why men are statistically much better at killing and suicide.
Because they're told not to. They're not told not to tell.
They're told to suck it up and bury it.
Yeah.
And that you're weak if you seek help, and it is so destructive. And it doesn't just it doesn't it affects families and children, and it's a massive cycle that can take generations to break.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean I've lost 4 or 5 friends to suicide. So yeah, it's and all guys, and actually I think most of them were military guys. So
my dad killed himself.
And then they don't show anything on the outside. It's the battle, it's the interior battle that it's like you talk about toughening up. It's an interior. Well, they don't show it. They don't want to show it, but there's a battle, and that's the reason why it's so important to talk. Just to talk to somebody.
I keep thinking about the facades and the suck it up and all that energy, and I keep coming back in my head to Robin Williams. I mean, I never would have called that.
Yeah.
I never would have called that. It's right in front of us the whole time. In fact, in retrospect, it was obvious, but we as a society completely missed it. Yeah.
I mean, like what Chris Cornell, and I mean that's another one. Chris Cornell. I met Chris Cornell. I used to be in the music industry in Seattle. So I mean, nicest guy in the world. Didn't seem like he had any issues at all. But obviously,
it's amazing what people are holding in, and yeah. I will always push. I'll push out our resources to anybody, and I'll push hard, right? If I have to, I'm free. Take them. I don't care if you're a hardworking fisherman, right? You need that work. You need to talk to somebody. There's a path that you need somebody to tell you, and you can't take it from. You need to take it from a resource somewhere. So, like, there's a lot of people.
I need this shirt, Stefan. That's what I need.
Oh, which one?
Well, get in line.
No, the one you're wearing. The one you're wearing.
I've got the same vinyl.
I have a Star Wars shirt on.
Okay, well, your Star Wars shirt is cool too, but I don't get his reflects off of everything.
I'm still bitter.
I made these this morning. Yeah, I made these this morning. I made the white one, and then I misrepresented us in another AMA, so I made another one.
Okay, well, I like that one too, but I really like the reflectors on that.
Yeah, it's a nice vinyl. It's really crappy to work with, man. It was hard to weed, but it is. You do what you gotta do for what you love, I guess.
Yeah.
I like it.
Cool. And I think that's finding something you love and whether it's art or anything that you love, is really going to help. It helps you cope. It helps you cope with certain things.
Very
Oh,
true.
totally. And our community has been
Absolutely.
so supportive. Like I can't say enough how much our community itself has changed me, over the course of the last 6 months, and my thought process. Because you hear a lot of new things, even when you don't mean to. You hear something, or you read something, and it triggers the thought, right? And I'm so glad we came and started this group, and I'm so glad that people are taking well to what we're doing, right? I'll be honest. It took me a lot to come forward and say that, hey, I'm going through the crappiest divorce. I'm sure there's a million people that are going through the same thing, but half of them aren't talking about it, and
Hmm.
that's a problem. Those are the
Yeah.
ones where you're going to see big issues come, right? That's where issues like road rage happen, and that stuff kills.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, when you let stuff build up, it's. I mean, just like if you let anything build up, eventually it's going to explode. If the pressures, it's going to pop, and that's why it's good
Yeah.
to find an outlet, find a release like this group, and
Oh,
and, and the network to be able to release that and get some feedback. Feedback, and I mean,
I'll be
it's
honest here
awful.
right now. My situation with my ex would have been a lot more, not violent, but just a lot more yelling, a lot more everything, pain, if I would not have gone and talked to somebody, because they pointed me in some directions that I probably wouldn't have looked at right in the beginning. I would have taken me time, but I might not have looked at them right in the beginning. And those little direction changes are instrumental to change.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first real job I had was commercial fishing. I was in
Oh yeah,
Alaska. I was out of the
hey,
Bering
there's
Sea.
one right there, right
Uh,
there.
I was
Yeah,
One of
I was a
those.
slave my entire childhood. I grew up on
Yeah,
an aluminum can and a 40-foot trawler from the 40s.
yeah. I
I
was
spent
out
my
of
last
the.
7 years driving around on a 28 foot 300 horse, like or 500 horse dual 250s. Yeah, go ahead.
We
Sorry,
had
we'll talk like a
a
sailor.
Yeah,
single pot Volvo, 9 knots with the wind and the tide. Yeah.
yeah. I was based out of Dutch Harbor on Alaska, and um, did it for a few years, and it was that's I had three choices. Because I was born in Canada, raised in the States, so I have U.S. and Canadian citizenship. My dad and my brother and my sister are, well, my brother's passed away now, but my dad and my sister and my brother were all born in the U.S. and then my mother and I were both born in Canada. So, um, but I had a choice to go to the U.S. military, the Canadian military, uh, to become a Mountie, and or I chose to go commercial fishing with my buddies because it seemed like really fun and adventurous, and it was like the hardest work I ever did. But it really kind of you know slapped me into manhood real fast, and you know
Oh
maybe gave
yeah,
me some real appreciation. And yeah, I was on
It,
a.
certainly teaches you how tough you really are.
oh yeah.
You don't know
That
it until
ocean
you're
is a
pressed
scary
against it, but
place.
it was something else. And I mean, some of the best memories of my childhood come from that, and it was also tragically horrible at times. You get stuck with your family on a 10 square foot space for months at a time, and
Yeah,
it's a little too personal.
Yeah.
Um, but
yeah. So,
Oh, I
but
hear you. You
I've
get to
seen
know
I've
people.
seen things that people pay out the nose to see, and I got to actually experience it. We could stop and go visit places, and we take the dinghy, and we knew all the little spots and hot springs that nobody knows about, and
I've
you
seen
know,
some waterfalls. Yeah,
yeah,
I've
I've
seen
seen
some
things that people
waterfalls
just
that people
just
don't see.
they're
Yeah.
never gonna see this stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
And I mean,
I watched an eagle once while I was driving my boat through this channel come down right beside me, and if I would have reached and grabbed my phone, it would have saw that and flown away. But it came down that close, within 6 feet of me, and grabbed a seagull right next to
Oh,
the boat, and went up. And I was like, and all I could do at that exact moment, because I was all alone, and not something you, like Ed said, you'll ever be able to share with anybody. All I could do was just cheer for that bird. It was an amazing, my heart started. It was an amazing experience, and those are the things that you get out at sea that nobody yet. Nobody gets.
Yeah, we anchored in this little bay because we knew a spot that was just behind the trees. There's this little secluded lake, and you couldn't even see it from the ocean. It was just a fantastic spot. We get in the dinghy, and all of a sudden we got a humpback, and it breached right next to us, and his eye came like right past our faces. We all reached
Wow.
out and touched it. We're in a 12-foot dinghy, right? And so we're both ecstatic to have this experience, and absolutely, I mean, as a kid, I was freaking, I was terrified, and my mom actually had to pull my hand out to make me touch the whale so I wouldn't miss the experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Just
And
like
you're like pulling back the whole
yeah,
time, like, no, no,
I
no,
was
it's
in
gonna eat me.
fight or flight. Yeah, that big baleen whale is definitely going to eat me. But
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. That's an awesome story. Yeah, then those are you get those. There's this little island just out past Tofino around a bend. It's called Welcome Island, and they've got a little man-made cabin there, and you can sign a guest book if you stay there. And it's not a great, like, you want to bring a hammock or you want to make sure you bring a tent or something, right? But there's little places like that you don't get to see, and nobody can tell you how to get there. You just got to be able to
I've
find your way.
I've stayed there, and we were all set up, and the caretaker comes around a corner, and he is butt naked. And he looks at us and says, "Oh, sorry, we don't usually have visitors. Anyways, have a good time," and just carried on about his day. Everything was totally normal.
Yeah, there's some interesting little places out there. I don't know, I've got a friend who's got a piece of land out there that's a mill. He doesn't do any logging on it, but he lives out there, and he mills wood that he finds in the ocean, which is awesome, right? Because then it's already wood that's come down in a storm or something, and then that's how he makes his profit. But actually, he's somebody we might be talking to at some point in time to set up a little something, because it's right around the corner from How's It, just outside of Tofino. It's got a nice lake up the hill. There's so much potential there, and because it's he's offered me up at one point in time a government, like a logging lease, and all you have to do is pay for the lease, but you don't have to do anything on it, and the
Does
leases are
Judy
cheap. Yeah.
does Judy Bloom still own that island outside of Tofino?
I don't know if she does. I think I can't remember his name. Her husband got it or something, or her son.
Okay, because I visited there once, and it's actually a really great little venue, and as long as people are respectful, she was fine with people visiting her land and having events and things like that.
You're talking about on a Pitsit, right across from Tofino.
Yeah, it's right there. I mean, you're in a herring skiff. You're about 20 minutes out.
Oh yeah,
That's beautiful.
yeah, that's
area.
a good place too. Yeah, there's
area.
we're looking at a lot of groups actually. We can talk about it here because it's in the spring. Ed and I are looking at having a wellness retreat next spring, summer, to bring a lot of us together and into the BC waters. And I'm trying to time it for when there's a lot of good stuff going on. So there can be some fishing, there can be some whale watching, there can be some stuff that we could do, and really take a little bit of time and enjoy the wilderness and get away from the whole crypto side of it for a bit,
Yeah,
as best we can.
You got three BC guys here, and we got Dion, who's down in Arkansas, so she probably has no idea what we're talking about. But you'll see when you get up here. It's a pretty special place. People don't
She's
realize.
Seen on my TikTok. My TikTok has a lot of videos from when I was out in the boat. I'd take videos going around cafes, out on where there's open water. Yeah. I have a lot. I'm gonna start.
Vandeville looks very beautiful. I've seen on Sean's page. Well, Sean posts in our group. He posts a lot of pictures. He's been spending a lot of time in nature lately.
Yeah. So I'm in Kamloops, so I'm in the south central part of BC. So we're it's a different type of beauty. They're on the coast, which is on the island, which is it's gorgeous.
Oh.
And
kokanee and skiing.
A lot more rain over there. They get a lot more rain over there than where we do over here. But we're close to the Rockies, so we go to the Rockies. The Rockies are just it's beautiful. British Columbia in general is beautiful because it's majority of the population live in Vancouver, and once you get out of Vancouver, it's very scarce. You're talking about communities no more of 100,000 people at the most, and any of these other communities outside of Vancouver. And you talk about Providence, it's probably the size of 3 or 4 states in the U.S., just one Providence, you know, so it's a massive piece of land with a lot of open area. So it's
Mac Daddy,
Okay.
I just posted a picture in our main chat. You probably recognize the area. That's my rental vehicle that's currently in your neighborhood with a couple of German tourists.
awesome. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I saw these guys driving on the road.
No way, really?
Tell me they were
Wait,
sober.
That's a cool
was there any
picture.
noise coming off
No, actually, that looks like close. That looks like where I live. The area that looks like the Fraser River right there.
That should be close to you. Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's right. I mean, I could see. Fraser River is 5 miles from me, 5 kilometers. You know, I got. I'm right. I could see from my house. I could see that the Thompson River. Thompson River is right below us. So.
I lived
I
a
remem-
summer in Talana Bay out in Salmon Arm there, and that was on the Shuswap. That was
Yep.
that was a really beautiful place. Yeah.
Yeah, Shuswap. We go there. There's a lot in the summertime. I mean, Shuswap's 20 minutes from here. So I mean, so we're right. You know, Chase is 25 minutes from Chase. So and then Salmon Arm, we go to Salmon Arm.
Sorrento.
Yeah, Sorrento's beautiful little area. That whole area. So yeah, we are very blessed to be where we're at, and you know, and I'm you know, I don't every day I wake up and I give thanks for the opportunity to be here and enjoy this. But I mean, it's you know, it does help. It does help. You know, getting out there and just listening to nature and everything that's around us, because there's so much that people just don't open their eyes to or listen to. You know,
Totally. Exactly.
But when
Yeah,
you
I
get
love
out here,
I love to point out to people, you know, because I'm sure you all know by now, but I'm a horticulturalist, and so, you know, trees are kind of my thing. But if you ever notice somebody in the forest going for a walk, they never look up. They never ever look up. They're always in this range. And I try and tell them there is a whole freaking world in the canopy. Like there's so much more going on in this space than you're even noticing. And I think it's but you know, I'm guilty of it too, right? Having grown up on the island, I didn't understand that this was world class. I didn't know until I hitchhiked across the prairies and found out what that was like. And you know, a couple of ticks in the leg, and you know, all that sky made me feel really exposed. And I tell you, when I came back to the Rockies after spending a few months out in Saskatchewan and Manitoba, don't get me wrong, like they're beautiful areas. Northern Saskatchewan is gorgeous. It's fantastic. Same with Manitoba, but there's nothing like the Rockies, man. I as soon as I see them coming over the horizon, I was like, yeah, that's home. Right on. I'm going home. And it was like seeing my home with new eyes, hey, because I'd never been exposed to anything outside of it. I didn't understand how fantastic it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've lived in Mexico for 15 years, and Mexico is beautiful, very beautiful place. Cabo San Lucas is. I mean, you go down the Baja, it's a lot. There's a lot of nothing except desert and water and ocean, right? Because there's a lot.
Well, then that's the best time to sit and think and just work through things totally too.
Yeah, I mean, Mexico's, the people are fantastic, wonderful people. I mean, it's great, but you know, even my wife, who's spent 32 years in Mexico before she came to Canada, or 31 years, she calls this home. I mean, Mexico will always be a place, but she goes down there for a couple of weeks and she's ready to come back to BC because I mean, even the winter, and it gets really cold and lots of snow where we're at here in Kamloops. Even then, it's absolutely stunning. But I still can't wait for the summers, because summers. I mean, I'm not a huge winter fan, but
no, I hear you. That's why we're on the island. It's
living here in the winter,
It gets really cold up there.
No, it's 10 degrees on the island.
It's a lot warmer where we're at.
Yeah,
Okay.
Where we're at, it's minus. It gets minus 20 something, minus 30 sometimes. You know, so it's but it makes
Yeah,
living
we're
through
like
that
the
winter time.
Florida of Canada. This is where you come
Yeah,
for one last round of golf before you
yeah,
get in the forever
yeah,
golfs.
Okay,
yeah, yeah,
I
Yeah.
got
yeah,
you.
yeah. Exactly. It's like the Caribbean of Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um, but we,
Okay,
you
the
know,
best place on earth.
yeah, it's beautiful.
nice,
It's beautiful. I mean,
nice.
the island. You think of an island, it's not that that island is massive. Vancouver Island. It's a
Yeah.
massive
Oh
island.
yeah.
It's huge. I mean, it's
Okay.
huge. We got friends driving around it right now today. They came up from Mexico. They're doing their start off in Seattle. They took a ferry over to Victoria. They're doing Victoria. They're going to come across from nine what's it, Nanaimo, and then they're going to
Nanaimo.
go, yeah,
Yeah,
no, and then they're going to go to the Whistler up to Squamish, the Whistler, and then drop back down and come through here, and then they're going to meet us back here in Kamloops, and then we're going to on I think this next weekend will be Sunday. We're heading out to Jasper, then Jasper we're going to do 93 down Jasper to Lake Louise and Banff, and then they're dropping to Calgary, flying home, and then we'll head back. And but
that's a wonderful trip. I did that actually when I was in elementary or junior high school. With school, we went up to see the ice fields,
yeah,
and we did that whole trip. And we took a train. Back when the trains were really big, then I'm aging myself a lot here now, but it was
I
and back when you could do field trips with your school, like they were a week and a half long.
I worked at
A
Storm
field
Mountain
trip though.
Lodge and
Don't
the
be
Post
hard.
Hotel.
oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So
I mean,
I
you do
spent
that
a
93 drive. That 93 drive is unbelievable. I mean, it's like waterfall after water. You say, "Oh my God, look at that waterfall!" Then, "Oh my God, look at that water!" They're just waterfalls coming off off these massive mountains, the huge waterfalls, and they're everywhere. It's just like it looks like literally like something out of like the Lord of the Rings. I
yeah.
mean,
And it
they could
probably
have filmed the
was.
Lord of the Rings here.
Yeah, they probably
It,
did. My
yeah,
daughter's picked out places that she's like, I've seen this in a movie. And I'm like, you probably did. And then she looks it up. She's like, oh, yeah, they filmed on Vancouver Island. And I'm like, well,
yeah,
then you're totally right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Vancouver.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Lots of filming happens here. We were actually approached in Tofino when my daughter was about 2, and they wanted to put her in a Pampers or a Huggies commercial. And my wife was like, "Yes," and I'm like, "No." She says, "Why not?" I was like, "Drew Barrymore, cocaine addict at 13. We're out."
It was that vampire movie. What's that vampire movie that they all like now? Um, that series. It was a bunch of movies.
We got Chesapeake Shores, but I don't think we're bragging about that. We're kind of keeping that internal.
they filmed the
Uh,
last Jurassic World. Part of it was filmed in Kamloops, in
so-
the Kamloops
Sonic,
area.
Sonic and Ladysmith.
Oh, yeah.
I was in a Canadian Tire commercial in Ladysmith. I was the
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
loser. I was the loser of a soapbox race, but it was okay because my dad and I built the losing soapbox at Canadian Tire, and it's the moments that matter, you know.
That's right. I was Orange
I made
Craft
50
sponsor
bucks
for
for
that
4
year.
days. 4 days of standing there waiting to go down the hill in a soapbox. I got paid 50 bucks, and I thought I was rich. I spent it all at the candy store.
See, Orange Crush sponsored us in Alberta, and they didn't pay us anything. They just gave us the stuff to make the soap boxes, and people who organized it made all the money. We just rode
Oh
rolled
wow.
down the hill thinking it was great.
yeah, my daughter did a magazine shoot in Whistler when we lived in Whistler. She did a little some clothing line, and she made like $400. You know, I was like, that's cool. So, but you know, I mean,
I don't know
one thing
who's
that
here right now, but we should open up the floor if there's any. Well, there's only 3 people here now, 4 people. If anybody has anything they want to say or anybody wants to talk, you're welcome to open your mic. It's pretty much open here. I haven't shut anybody off.
Yeah, we're just kind of shooting the breeze. You know, we've started this Mindful Mondays thing as just a space where people can kind of openly talk about their perspectives about mental and physical health, et cetera, and share stories and get to know each other. It's an interactive thing, so jump in. But
And that's even Pam Peace. Go ahead. Well, she's always
I think
quiet.
I've got 2 good Whistler stories. The first one is that I sat in a pub at like 2 in the afternoon, and I sat down, and this gentleman's sitting on the bar, and we talked for a little bit, and his girlfriend's on the dance floor dancing away, and we had a drink, and you know we just talked like normal humans, you know. And then he's got to take off, so him and his girlfriend leave. And I walk outside, and there is this giant group of young women, and they're going, "Oh my God, Wesley Snipes!" And I was like, "You mean Wes?" I had no idea. I sat with Wesley Snipes for like a good hour, had a couple of beer with him, and just talked like normal people. And I had no concept who he was at all. The most I asked him what he did for a living. He said, "I work in films," and then we moved on. We never even thought twice about it. Yeah.
Yeah. No,
And
I met Ray Liotta in Whistler.
nice.
Yeah. He was there skiing, and he was walking down through the village, and he asked for directions to the lower village. And I said, "Yeah, well, give him the directions." And he was just asked, what do you do here besides skiing? And I said, "Well, there's a couple of bars, restaurants, and blah blah blah." And it wasn't a long conversation, but it was just my little brush up with the mobster, and it was fun. I mean, I think the longest conversation I had with a celebrity was with Nicolas Cage, and that was in Cabo San Lucas. And I sat down with him and his entourage in Squid Row, which is a bar, like a club bar down in Cabo, and because I lived there and I pretty much knew everybody, and yeah, that was fun. He was a funny guy.
Oh yeah, my claim to fame is I worked on a B-rate movie and in Calgary there back in the day when I was younger, and got to meet Michael Ironside. That's my big claim to fame. It's not huge, but yeah.
I got invited to the Smallville New Year's Eve party, and I decided to go to the pub with a friend instead because I was an idiot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my girlfriend at the time, her dad was a set builder for Smallville, and he also did a lot of set work for Terminator 2 and X-Files. And so basically in any of those, if it explodes or burns down, he built it. Pretty neat.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, he had a pretty interesting career. He was a neat guy.
I can do that. That would be fun. Just kidding. I like to create other than destroy.
I sat down with Farley Mowat and Robert Bateman at a coffee shop in Tofino for about a half an hour or 45 minutes. That was pretty cool. That was pretty neat. That was in the it was mid-90s. I was just a teenager, and I didn't even know, again, I didn't know who I was talking to. We were just sitting there talking. It was pretty neat.
That's what they like. They don't like the they like you just talk about. They want to be like normal people too. So
if you want to know about their career, that's not what they're there for. So they'll tell you real quick, and then they'll screw up.
We've got Elvis Costello and Diana Krall, and they live just here in the Noose Bay. And it's funny because Elvis, when he's out walking around, he looks like Elvis. Like he looks like that all the time. That's what he looks like. And so we drive along, and he waves at us, and Diana will not look at us, will not acknowledge us, will not wave or nothing. But Elvis is always friendly and smiling. Yeah,
isn't it amazing how society's turned into that closed-off group of people that everybody wants to pretend that they know everybody, but nobody wants to talk to anybody nowadays.
Yeah. Elvis seems like a real happy-go-lucky guy.
Yeah,
he really does. He's got a spring in his step. He's not a very big man. He's a small man. He's just got this spring in his step. He's just moving along. You just feel that energy from him. He's cool. I've never had an in-depth conversation with him or anything. I stay respectful. I don't want to be annoying. It's hard not to give him my card because I want to be on his property, but that's okay. Yeah.
Send your kids.
Yeah, well, you know what? I cut the lawn of the drummer from the Irish Rovers, and he was just a pain to deal with. So it's not always cracked up to what you think it's going to be.
Yeah, they're picky.
Yeah.
Those people with money.
I don't know. Most of the musicians I met back in the '90s, because I've been at parties with Eddie Vedder and Lane Staley, and they're just you're in the same parties and around the same people, and they all known each other for years. So they're just like, oh, hey, there's Lane, So, I used to work at Tower Records when I was a teenager, and I'd see those guys in there all the time. I'd see a bunch of celebrities in there all the time, but celebrities from the '90s, like from like that. I can't remember her name, but the gal from like what was that show called Northern Exposure with the moose walking down your
yeah,
shit
yeah,
about
That was
show about Northern.
great.
yeah.
Yeah, the gal
I
was
love
from
that
that.
show. I love
She used
that
to come
show.
in all the time, and a lot of sports celebrities, a lot of musicians used to go back to Tower Records back in the day, but we get backstage passes and all kinds of stuff. So I meet a bunch of those guys. I met a bunch of those
Nice.
guys. Most of them are cool. Some are not. Some aren't, but most are pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, I just, I try not to fawn over them. I just try and be real. I'm not. I can't imagine living a life where everybody runs up to you like, "Let me touch your clothes." Sign a piece of paper for me. It's like, I'm a person. I don't know. I really think that I like to think that the celebrities that I've interacted with without knowing who they were until after the fact actually enjoyed that conversation. Like it was just a normal conversation, something that maybe that they don't normally get in their lives, because,
No, I think the funnest time I ever had with a celebrity is with guys from Jackass.
oh
Wee
God.
Man. They
Oh no.
came down to Cabo Stand-Up Resort. I was working with, and they stayed there. So they were as crazy as they are on TV. I mean, they're
Oh, I
just doing
bet
some
they are.
stuff.
They were fun.
Yeah.
We had a guy. His name. We had a guy. He was a dwarf. His name was Jorge. He was a Mexican wee man. Exact same height and everything. But he was Mexican. So
Yeah.
they were doing like this Mexican burrito thing where they're rolling them up in these
I saw that.
gigantic tortillas and stuff like this, and it was just funny. I mean, those guys were funny
They
guys.
did some interesting stuff. Yeah.
Oh, they were
They
doing.
were
I mean,
right at the end of my era when that came out.
yeah, stuff that just like that gets you in trouble. And so it's like you when you're a kid. You used, I mean, I'm not really me, but you go out there and you like TP someone's house, and then you take off running. Right? That's what these guys are like. They're like, but they're grown up versions of that, and just doing stuff a little more extreme than TPing somebody's house. But yeah, they're funny.
We used to TP people's house and then we could run into the cornfield.
Tipping
Or up the
cows.
road.
Oh, yeah, isn't
Nobody would
tipped
ever
a
find us.
cow?
Yeah, we thought it would be a good idea to egg taxi drivers and police on one Halloween, and we quickly found out
Thanks.
how big of a giant mistake that was. That did not go well. I'll tell you this: you're way better to be picked up by the police than a taxi.
Oh yeah, I bet you.
They're way less fun.
I had some kid throw a pine cone in the window of my car, man, and I picked him up and took him home. And I'm like, and his parents didn't understand why I was mad. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Whipping down the road, the pine cone hits my head.
Yeah, that can kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to stay on the VC here. I'm just going to shut the vid off for a few minutes and do a couple things, but I'm here.
Yeah, we can. If there's nobody else that wants to say anything, we can end the recording and just keep chatting.
All right.
Give him a minute. Anybody?
Yeah, I'm gonna get on a call here with Antonio here in a few minutes. He's been trying to get on the call with me for the last 2 days, and I just been so slammed that, and I feel so bad. And he's like, so I
totally. Next week we're gonna have we'll probably try and do the stream to your space, and I'm gonna talk to Mitch and see if we can get him to come. And we'll pick an area of mental health that he might know some stuff about, and we'll just let him talk about it. I think that's a good idea. What do you guys?